Okay, this one's a little bit more complicated, but this is something that has come up in our quality control inspections. This is a customer request a call from a contractor. I know the type's pretty small. This is a copy and paste from one of our inspection reports, but this customer had numerous number of questions, from why did my furnace didn't get replaced because it has a cracked heat exchanger, to my refrigerator doesn't work. And the last one was the auditor said that she had moisture in the basement, so she installed a humidifier, or dehumidifier, excuse me. Customer education is important all the way through the project cycle, from the time of the audit to when things are being installed. We don't want to leave customers with questions. When we're doing our quality control inspections, we're giving the customers a survey. How satisfied are you with the audit, with the measure install? But we start to get them to talk to us, to explain their experience. And some customers are left with questions. And we always want to make sure we educate the customers so they understand what's being installed, how they're going to benefit from it, or what's not being installed because there's barriers to the home. And making sure they understand why work can't be done in their building. Here we go. Here's an excerpt from the CP manual. I can read it here. All Comfort Partners personnel should be alert of opportunities to educate customers in how energy-related devices work and how they can maximize benefits from their use. We shouldn't be leaving customers with questions. If there's barriers to work, the program policy procedure has this written in, that they give them a health and safety findings form along with a cover letter that explains why their home cannot be served. What about this? What do we have here?
Paint ready.
It's not paint ready, I heard. So, yeah, this is a fairly lightweight. They had drilled and filled this assembly, and according to the CP manual, which is here, that it must be neat. It must be installed professionally and blend well with its surroundings. Well, this did not. So this is 2 minutes with a sander, that job would be done. But what this keys into is, here's a very, very obvious thing that was left. Things that go on in a quality control inspector's mind is what else is missing. So if we're seeing this kind of really obvious, we start to look and see what else we can find. It's a pretty straightforward one, but it's same thing with this. This is debris that was left in an attic. So they had accessed the knee wall to do some insulation work, and all the debris was left in the attic. So what's the consequence to the customer? They're unsatisfied. Are they going to refer this contractor to a friend and family that's eligible? Maybe not. Probably not too much effect to the building, but the follow-up is they're going to have to go back and take this out of here. CP manual, clearly states that you have to pull all the material out of the house. So this is going to be a return trip to this residence to clean up a little bit of debris. So that's going to cut into the cost effectiveness of this project from the contractor standpoint. And we certainly don't like to do this. But again, we follow the manual. How about this? What are you looking at there? What is that?
Access hole into the wall.
It's an access hole into the wall. So it looks like they accessed, maybe a knee wall or an attic space here. On this particular job, they had 3 problems. It was this particular panel was glued into place. So it's not removable at this point. They actually glued this panel into place, but they invoiced for creation of an operable attic hatch. So it was an incorrect invoice observation. It wasn't, so this is a drywall patch. Was it neat? Was it professionally installed? Did it blend with its surroundings? No, it did not. And this is a particular, because this had 3 issues attached to it, is that this is now, they did work behind that patch, but we did not have the photographs of the work that was installed. So anytime that work is being installed behind a sealed access, we need photographs within the CP system. So this one issue had multiple observations that were in non-compliance with the CP manual. Here's the CP language. What do we have here? What does that piece of pipe do?
Discharge tube on a hot water heater.
Okay. So is that correctly installed?
It needs to be within 6 inches of the floor.
Yep. So this is a pressure relief discharge pipe on a domestic hot water heater, and he's correct. It needs to be installed within 6 inches of the floor. Why 6 inches from the floor?
You can't put a bucket on it? No, so you don't get burned by the discharge water.
Yep. You don't get burns. So if this unit decides to discharge, you're not going to get scalding water, close to your face. It would be at your feet. So, the consequence to the customer is this is a health and safety issue. It's also a health and safety issue for the workers that were working in that zone. So the quality assurance follow-up is, according to the manual, these need to be 6 inches from the floor. The contractor had to go back in this case, unfortunately, to replace this pipe. So these are not, groundbreaking issues, but they're issues that are affecting the customer satisfaction and the cost effectiveness of the jobs that are being done. How can we, let's stop for a second and say, how can we alleviate some of these problems? Like, how can we not have this happen again? Michael.
That would be in-process quality checks.
In-process quality checks. That's a great suggestion. So at the time the work is complete, if you want a cost-effective job, at the time the work is complete, you should be checking it against the quality standard. Do a quality control check. When you get done with a measure, check it against the specifications. If it meets the specifications, move on to the next measure. That's going to be the most cost-effective way to alleviate these costly little mistakes. Sir, you have something? Oh, he has another conversation. What do we have here? Yep, this is a flue pipe. So on this particular home, this is a flue pipe that had been treated by the contractor. They had actually done some modifications, done some alterations to this flue pipe. They actually sealed it to the chimney. However, the flue pipe was deteriorated and rotted. And when our inspector used the probe for draft, it actually opened up this large hole. So in the CP manual, section 20, health and safety measures to prevent problems, including flue repairs. So this is a missed opportunity to the contractor to fix this health and safety issue. But they touched it actually. They actually made some alterations to a flue design that was non-compliant to begin with. So that's certainly a liability on their part. Okay. This looks nice. Does this meet the quality standard for Comfort Partners?
No depth gauge.
Okay, I heard depth gauge. So we don't see a depth gauge here, and that's a CP requirement, so we understand how deep the insulation is. Sir, what would you say? Excellent, good eyes. So on this particular job, the sea of cellulose looked perfect. However, we couldn't see the chimney dam, the dam that protected the chimney from the insulation. That dam needs to be above the insulation level, and that was viewable by our inspector. Right.
Can't see that.
Yep. So there's also other requirements for an attic install, but on this particular picture, you know, the lesson to learn is the missing element here. So unfortunately, the contractor had to return in this case and wade through that beautiful sea of cellulose to install the attic dam. What's wrong with this picture?
Insulation doesn't fully cover the door. Weather strip?
There is nothing wrong with this photograph. And so what's the positive attributes here? This is it's an attic door. It's been insulated with Thermax. The Thermax has been covered on the edges with foil, so it's not leaving exposed foam products. It's been weather stripped on the perimeter, along with the sweep on the bottom. The foam has been cut away from the handle to allow easy access to the handle, so the customer can operate this door. So this is an example of good work done by a CP contractor. So this slide presentation isn't all bad. We got some good pictures coming up. And here's the CP specs for that particular improvement. What's the problem with this picture? Looks pretty good to me. So there is no, this is an excellent example of duct sealing. Why, given where, I mean, I know we can't see the entire picture, but it was an excellent example of duct sealing because they started where? Where do we want to start sealing ducts at? We got some building science people in the room. Where do we want to start sealing ducts from? Closest to the air handler at the highest pressure point and work outward from there. And that's exactly what this contractor did. They started at the air handler, they did the air handler, the plenum, and then they moved to the trunks and the branches. And they used the material properly. They, you know, I would say you always use manufacturer specifications, but our rule of thumb for duct masks is a nickel thick. So this is an excellent example of duct sealing. In the CP manual. What is that?
Covering a light.
Yep, recess. I heard recessed light. This is a dam that protects a heat-producing fixture. So this is again another excellent example of best practice. This is how you would properly protect a heat-producing fixture from the insulation. So there's lots of specifications that go into this particular improvement. It's got to be 18 inches high from the device. It's got to be 18 inches away from the heat-producing fixture, you know, typically a non-IC rated light can. It's got to be mechanically fastened to the joists or the subfloor, and it's got to have a cap. These are extremely hard to accomplish. I actually built one for a CP training a few months ago, and I built it in a controlled environment like my garage, and it was extremely difficult even in a controlled environment. These are not easy to construct, and I would say given their complexity, they might be prone for failure. So this is an excellent example of one, but you know, look for the other options, such as solid surface mount, or replacing that non-IC rated can with an airtight can. Look for different options because this is tough. This is tough, but this is a really great example of one. So here's another example of good practice. This is a vapor barrier that was installed in a crawl space for the CP program. Looks beautiful. The poly was installed. It was run up the wall and terminated. They did a really nice job here. The only thing that they missed in this particular job is that they removed the fiberglass from the floor above to do some air sealing on the rim and van joists. And our only critique for the contractor on this one was providing some support matrix for the fiberglass insulation so it doesn't get dislodged and fall down. And if you look closely enough, insulation is actually compressed and not at full loft. So there could have been some, some further improvement there. But from the vapor barrier standpoint, this is a really, really nice job. How about this attic? Yep, another example of good work done by CP contractors. This particular attic, baffles for all heat-producing fixtures were done. They sealed the ducts. They insulated the ducts. They ensured all the eaves and vent baffles were in place. That was a question from a person here. Installed depth markers in contact with the attic floor at a minimum of every 15 feet facing the attic access. So this is a really nice install. As the other presenters talked about comfort and emotional comfort, if I was a homeowner and I walked up in my attic and it looked like this after it was done, I'd have ease of mind. Just feel a sense of satisfaction from a nice, clean job. So for the conclusion here is Comfort Partners is designed to undergo some pretty high rigor. We do a lot of work on quality assurance. Greg and Frank and Michael, you guys all keep us very busy at PSD. We do quarterly trainings with all the contractors. We do quarterly QA calls with the contractors for their specific needs. There's technical subcommittees, and then we did 920. We didn't do 920. Us and Pure Energy did 920 inspections last year. That's about 21% of all work that was done in the program. But really what to take away here is inspection observations are opportunities. They're opportunities for us to learn and to grow. There are opportunities for us to provide information for contractor trainings and their QA calls. And then how to actually improve the policy and procedure manual. So, life gives us exactly what we need when we need it, right? Even though if we don't really want it. But it gives us what we need to continue to grow. So if we're seeing mistakes, we keep getting an opportunity to make it better. And so that's how we view quality control and quality assurance, is that these are opportunities. We don't want to keep running into them, of course, because there's many problems to solve. But these are opportunities for us to continue to improve, and we work with the contractors to see good progress. So I want to leave with a success story. This was delivered at our most recent contractor training in August. Is gas leakage started to be very challenging for PSD and the contractors. We were finding a lot of gas leaks after work was completed. Of course, gas leaks, according to the CP standard, results in a failing inspection if it's within a certain time frame from when the work was completed. So these are big deals. And so you can see in April 2017, it was right around 18 or 19% of all inspection had a observable gas leak. And these are utility verified gas leaks. We follow BPI protocol, we soap it, and then we have the utility staff come out and verify the leak. This is great pain and suffering for all that's involved. But with good communication through the inspection reports and a lot of work from the contractors. So I want to definitely commend the contractors for all their hard work on this topic. Some of the contractors made significant investments in new tools, new gas leakage detectors, so we can all get on the same page of how to perform these tests and perform accurately. And you can see by August, when we produced this graph right before the August 23rd training, is that we had no observable gas leaks in the month of August. So we really look at like this as a success story. We are taking those inspection observations and turning them into growth and learning opportunities in ways that we can improve this program's success over time. So I wanted to leave on a nice positive note. We are very satisfied with graphs that look like this. That it gives us the satisfaction that we are hitting our mark as well. And that's it. Does anybody have any questions for me?